My English is broken, she would say. My English is broken, Hoyo, under the belief that her inability to speak English so fluently was saddening. Until one day she really told me. She said, "You think that their words of hatred can affect me, Ayane, just because I don't speak the colonizer's language fluently. Ayane, he Hoyo, yes mother, ushag, tell them. Tell them that I've come from a place where death is easy, where young people greet the Grim Reaper before they get a chance to meet life's destiny. Tell them that my broken tongue, in fact, carries salams and battle scars from a people who weather whatever storm under the belief that true relief can only come from Allah. Tell them that we treat our guests with the utmost of respect, give them our best, even if that is the clothes off our chest, half whatever little we have with you. But you best pray to your Lord that we don't have war with you, because Ayane, yes mother, hehoy, ushag, that I have seen what war can do. And tell them that I feel as though sometimes my people know how to die better than they know how to live. I come from a people who hate to take, for they fear the injustice it brings, so they love to gift, a place where young guns are taught to play with six as kids before they could really translate what them bullets is. And even though this isn't how it was meant to be, I never envisioned myself as a refugee. Somalia, my country, my daughter, the bounty it had was always enough for me. But you tell them that they would need to know where I come from to know that broken English is the least of what gets to me. Because when I had to flee, I came from a place where school streets and loved ones did not look like school streets or loved ones anymore, replaced with bombs, bullets and graves and unmarked graves that mark the places we used to love before. Tell them that I feel as though sometimes ghosts is all we know. From a people overshadowed by the angel of death wherever we go, and like a visitor, struggle visits us, but we don't shy away, we welcome him into our homes. Sogal, come in. And tell them that we know how to meet hostility well, that my people know how to meet hostility well. And in fact that their broken tongues have long been numbed, rigid from the minute that they claimed to help but bombed our wells, starved us out in the middle of droughts until the skin of our children's bones fell. So yes, my English may be broken, but oh, I am fluent in resilience, oh well. So who cares if I say Bepsi instead of Pepsi? How dare they try to test me when the angel of death is still yet to get to me? Ayane, yes mother heho, your ushag. Tell them and hasulso, remember to wear your Somalinimo with pride. And when they ask you where you're from, you tell them that your skin is from a land that has been kissed by the sea and the sun, and that your nose and your features are from a people who stick it high in pride and don't run when the arrow of pain hits and the angel of death hunts, and that your lungs breathe in sync to the heartbeat of a land where love and hatred intermix, interlink. The blood battle between brothers and kin, a Karen trying to police our tongues is no match for us. Ayane, think, and tell them that revolution is as deep as the blood in your veins that remain unchanged, like the river Shabelle and Ahere, yes mother Ushega, like the fishermen who protected our waters when Dibya Dagale no Ken and Galbetka, like the fishermen who protected our waters when nuclear waste and war is what the West brought us. Ayane, yes mother hehoya ushag. Ayane, yes mother hehoya ushag. Ayane, yes mother hehoya ushag. Ushag. Tell them that they would need to know death as well as I do, for I have tried to flee through land and sea, and he continues to follow me, and those he took only remain in my memories. You tell them that they would need to know what I've come from to understand that broken English is the least of what gets to me, the least of my worries, before they could ever try to ever dare understand me. You tell them, Ayane, Ushek. Tell me what you see when I say refugee. What comes to mind? Is it the conversations of neediness, or the talks of criminality, or the burden of pain that they can't leave behind? See, I'm tired of this narrative. I'm tired of this talk. Let me put you in their shoes, take you on a journey and see how far you can walk. This is the story of Ahmed, part 1. Hooyo macaan waan ku jecelahay. Wiil sharaf leh noqo is ilaali. Sweet child, I love you. Please look after yourself. Ilaahay ayaan ka yimaadnina, Ilaahay uun ayaan u noqon. From God we come from, and to God we shall return. Hooyo macaan waan ku jecelahay, taana ha iloobin. Axmedow wiilkayga ilmaha iska tir ha ooyin. Sweet child, I love you. Wipe your tears. I'll be back for you. Ahmed sees his mother board that train from Ethiopia to Djibouti, away with his younger sisters, but at least his younger sisters are not left behind like him, Qahotis, refugees. He's thinking this as the Ethiopian armed guards are thinking this is going to get out of hand. We've got to hold our stand and push back against the dozens of refugees that have just fled Somalia. Looking around, dazed and a part of him gone, a fist comes flying, and all of a sudden more fists are flying. Unlucky mothers cradling their kids to safety because they couldn't make that train to safety, and now everyone is just crying. You see, that train left with more than people, as it left people in a pitiful state you see in an Ethiopian refugee camp. And in that turmoil and hot mess, Ahmed hears a gunshot and a whip crack at the back of his head, heart beating, people screaming. Ahmed gets up and runs 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 and runs. Hooyo macaan waan ku jecelahay, taana ha iloobin. Axmedow wiilkayga ilmaha iska tir ha ooyin is the last thing she's ever said to her son, and now she wakes up saqdeha in the middle of the night, ayadoo ilmeynayso, crying because she no longer knows where to find her son. Haben walba, every night for 15 years she's thought back to that very moment where at gunpoint she was told that only 2 of her 3 children could go. So she chose her daughters over her eldest son because guys find it easier, she'd tell herself over again and again to numb the pain, but it's been a decade and some, and it still hasn't been any easier. She searched for him, and something deep down within her knows that her son Ahmed is still alive. But every night for Ahmed, his mother cannot help but cry. She's raised her daughters in the West and they're all doing well now. But nobody talks of that brother that they've left behind in the gunshots and body drops now. The machine beeps. Beep, beep, beep. I never liked hospital smells. I always felt that they were a graveyard for the living. You might be high on the fumes of life right now, winning, but the come down can only come from the thought of death in an instant. And I'm deep in it, wishing that the angel of death pushes back his visit. And there my grandfather remains sitting, Ward 4, furthest bed from the door. I look around and found that death does not discriminate. And hospitals remain the most diverse of places, from old ages to all religions to all people. And there Ma'awo was sitting, his skin now stuck to him where mighty muscles were once placed, now replaced with time's weakness. See, everybody becomes a philosopher right before they die. Like a writer writing a rushed ending chapter, or a poet ending a poem with a rushed line, a life script comes to mind. Beep, beep, beep. Ayan Aden, he says, look at me, my daughter. I am living on borrowed time, he said. A shiver went down my spine. He said, I am living on borrowed time. I pondered and wondered if I could give him some of mine. I am living on borrowed time. He repeated, this time defeated, seated, wires all over his body like leeches, extensions of him I deepen. He is now looking at me, or through me, I am yet to know. Moving in memories that I can't see, I wonder how many dreams die in a soul and how many come to be. He remains transfixed for a quick minute, then smiles, then grins, then laughs, then chuckles. Then I see a teardrop, he stops, I stop, time stops. His laugh is now poorly masking a sob. Ayani Degeso, he says, listen to me. He is now giving me life lessons as a final blessing. He says, people will only love you as long as you are useful. Always remain truthful, my dear. As much as society may hate truth, take both hands and seize your youth. Life is not that complicated. Stop searching for clues. Always be happy, show gratitude, give others their flowers and take yours too. And don't judge nobody if you haven't taken a step in their shoes. He pauses. Breathe, I feel my knees go weak. Give charity, my daughter, he says, if you wish to honor my memory. Beep, beep, beep. And as I stand here before you today, remembering it all so vividly, as though I'm still seeing white sheets, sanitizers, and hospital walls, I ask to you what he asked to me. A living dead man's plea, he said. How are you living? What will be your legacy? How do you want people to honor your memory? A living dead man's plea, he said. We are all living on borrowed time. It's just that for now, you have a little more time than me.